let us understand one more important security that we are implementing in the real time, that is OAuth security. Okay, so in our daily life we are using so many web applications like Amazon, Flipkart, Gmail. Okay, so many web applications, Naukri and Hacker Rank. There are so many web applications we are using in our daily life. Now if you go to one website which is Nika cosmetic products, if you want to purchase, then there is a website called Nika. Beauty products will be available in this Nika website. Now suppose if you want to purchase some products from this Nika website, you should create your account in the website. If you want to place any order, you need to create your account in the website. But I am not interested to share my personal details with the Nika website. They may misuse my data. They may misuse my data. If I register in the Nika, my email ID will go to them, my mobile number also will go to them. Then they will use my data for the promotionals. Continuously I will be getting the emails and messages. I don't want to get such kind of nonsense messages. So that is the reason I am not interested to create my account in the Nika, but I want to order one product in the Nika. You got my requirement? I want to use their services without creating my account. I want to use their services without creating my account in that website. That's where they have given one option, sign in with Google. Boss, if you already have a Google account, you no need to create account in our website. With your Google account only, you can access our website. Are you guys getting my point? So with you, by using Google account only, you can access Nika website. You can log in into Nika by using your Google account only. Similarly, so I have shown you Gigs for Geeks, famous coding platform nowadays. So I want to do some coding practices. So for this, we need to log in into that website, sign in. Now, what they are saying? You want to create your account, or you want to use your Google account, you want to use your Facebook account, you want to use LinkedIn account, you want to use GitHub account. So if you are interested to share your details with the Gigs for Geeks, you can create the account, you can provide your email ID and mobile number. But if you are not interested to give your details to them, then you can use your social media accounts to access their website. Okay, and let's go to one more website which is Hacker Rank. Already I have shown you. When you go for a Hacker Rank, if you want to log in, okay, so if you already have the account, you can log in. If you don't have your account, what they are saying here? What they are saying here? Continue with your GitHub account, Google account, LinkedIn account, Facebook account. So by using your GitHub account, you can log in into Hacker Rank website. So if you want to implement this kind of authentication in our application, then we need to go for a concept called OAuth concept. Okay, now let us see what is this OAuth. It is open authorization standard designed to allow a website to access resources hosted by other web application on behalf of the user. On behalf of the user, one application data will be accessed by another application. You have account in the Google. If you confirm, your Google account data will be accessed by Nika, will be accessed by Gigs for Geeks, will be accessed by Hacker Rank. You have a Google account. If you confirm, your Google account data can be accessed by other web applications to provide the access in their website. So if you have social media account, using that account, you can log in into other websites. Right now, let us see how this OAuth is going to work now. I'm a customer. I'm a customer. Now, I want to access I want to access a website called Nika. I want to access a website called Nika. So first I will go to Nika website. Okay, I will see sign in, sign up. And if I want to sign up, I should share my email ID, my mobile number to them. If I share my data, what will happen? They will keep my data in their database. Continuously, they will be sending the alerts to my emails. They will be sending the promotional messages to my mobile number. I don't want to get such kind of promotions from the Nika. Only one product I want to order. In future, I may order, I may not order, I don't know. At this moment, I want to order one product in the Nika. But I don't want to share my information with the Nika. Then I have observed one option in the Nika, login with your Google account. I have my Gmail. Then from the Nika, I will select one option called login with Google. I will select one option login with Google. Then from the Nika, I will be redirected to Google account login. First I am visiting Nika website. I selected login with Google. Then what will happen? I will be redirected from Nika website to Google website for authentication. So that means Nika will tell to Google, hey Google, one of your customer want to access my website. One of your customer want to access my website. You please confirm really this person is your customer or not. Really this person is your valid user or not. You tell me. If you confirm this is a valid Google user, if this is a valid Google user account, then I will allow him to access my website. That is the contract between Nika and Google. Able to understand? First I am going to Nika. There I found one option, login with Google. Then from the Nika, I will log in with Google. Then Nika will redirect me to Google. What Nika will tell to Google? Hey Google, one of your user want to access my website. You please tell me really this person is your user or not. If this person is your user, then okay, I can trust you. I cannot trust the person, but I can trust you, Google. You please tell me this person is really your user or not. If he is really a Google user, then I will allow him to access my website. Are you getting my point? Come on. So from Nika, we redirected to Google. Then what Google will do? Google will ask you, hey, you are asking Nika, you are asking to log in into Nika. Nika sending me here. So you tell me whether really you are a Google user or not. Then Google will ask you, boss, really are you my customer? Then you will provide your Google credentials to the Google website. Then Google will validate your credentials. If you are a valid user, then Google will confirm to Nika, hey Nika, this person is my user only, you can trust this person. Google will inform to Nika. If Google inform to Nika, then Nika will allow you to access their website directly. So this is the flow which is going to happen. Let me give the numbers to understand. First, what customer is doing? First customer is going to Nika. So in the Nika, he found one option, sign in with Google. That means he is redirecting from Nika to Google. He is redirecting from Nika to Google. Then what Google is doing now? Nika is talking to Google for the customer identity. Then Google will send a login page for you. Google will send a login page for you. Hey, please tell me who are you. So please tell me who are you. Please confirm your identity. Then in the step number 3, Google will send a login page for you. Then you will fill that login page with your credentials. You will submit to the Google. You will submit to the Google. Then in the Google, it is going to perform authentication, guys. Google is going to perform authentication. So step number 5, Google is going to perform the authentication. Whatever the credentials you are giving, those credentials are valid or not. If your credentials are valid, if you are a valid Google user, then Google will send a token for the Nika. Google will confirm to Nika, okay Nika, this person is my customer only, his authentication is successful, you can trust this person. Google will confirm to Nika. Once Google confirm to Nika by using OAuth token, finally Nika will allow you to log in into Nika website. So what is the step number 1? What is the step number 1? Customer will visit Nika website. Step number 1, customer will visit Nika website. Then what is step number 2? Customer will select sign in with Google. Then Nika will redirect the customer to Google. Then what Google will do? Google will send a login page for you for the authentication as a response. Login page you will get from Nika. Login page you will get from the Google. Then customer will submit credentials to the Google email ID, Google password you will submit. Then what Google is going to do? Google is going to authenticate your credentials in the Google server. Your authentication will happen at the Google. If your authentication is successful, Google will send a token to the Nika saying that his authentication successful, he is my customer. If your authentication is successful in the Nika, what Nika will do? Login. You can log in, then you can access Nika services, you can place the orders. Are you able to follow me? So this kind of authorization or authentication is called as OAuth based security. So if you want to access user data from other websites to your website, you can use OAuth. Okay, so in the real time, our applications are having this kind of OAuth also. In Ashok IT website also, in the previous website, Google sign-in was available. So in the recent website, I have removed it. I will add that Google sign-in also in the Ashok IT website. The reason for removing that Google sign-in, people are not giving their mobile number when they register for a course. It is becoming difficult for us to add them to the WhatsApp group for the communication. That's why I just commented that code. Just I removed that button in the login page. If I uncomment that code, Google sign-in also will work in the Ashok IT. We added that functionality. If you have a Google account, with that account you can log in into our website. So did you use that option in the previous website? Yes, in the previous website that option is there. In the current website also it is there. Just I commented that button display in the front end. Backend code is already available. Able to understand my point? Now tell me, what is the purpose of OAuth? So can you tell me what is the purpose of OAuth in our web applications? If you want to access one, based on user confirmation, if you want to access one application data in the another application, then you can go for this OAuth. OAuth is one standard in the industry. So OAuth is one open authorization standard. It is allowing a website to access resources of hosted by other web application on behalf of a user. So OAuth 2 stands for open authorization. OAuth 2 stands for Open Authorization. It is a standard designed to allow a website or application to access resources hosted by other web application on behalf of user. Okay. Can you tell any example for this? Can you tell any example for this? Login into Nika website using Google account. Example 1, login into Nika website using Google account. Example 2, login into HackerRank. Login into HackerRank website using Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or Git. These all the applications are using this OAuth security. So if you have a Google account, you can log in into Nika. If you have Facebook account, you can log in into HackerRank. So how this kind of security we are implementing? How one website resources accessed by another website? By using OAuth. Now, I want to develop one REST API today. I want to develop one REST API today. If you want to access that REST API, you should have a GitHub account. I will develop one REST API. If you want to access my REST API, you should have GitHub account. So here, simple. Whenever you send the request to my REST API, when you send the request to my REST API will redirect you to GitHub. Simple. So when you send the request to my REST API will redirect you to GitHub. Then GitHub will send login page for you. You log in into the GitHub. Your details will be authenticated in the GitHub. Then GitHub will confirm your identity to my REST API. If GitHub confirmed this is a valid login, then REST API will send a response for you. So I want to develop one REST API by using OAuth with the help of GitHub login. Getting my point? Right. What is the procedure that we need to follow? What is the procedure we need to follow? This is very simple, very simple how to implement OAuth security in our Spring Boot application. Okay. First step, if you want to integrate GitHub login, Facebook login, LinkedIn, Google, any kind of social media login, you need to generate some secret keys for that. Now, if you want to use GitHub login in the application, the first step that you need to do, you need to generate GitHub client ID, GitHub secret. Same thing, if you go for Google also, you need to generate Google account client ID secret, Facebook client ID secret, LinkedIn client ID secret. So which application you want to use? In that application, you need to generate the client ID and client secret. So what is the process? Create one OAuth application in the github.com. So let's go to my GitHub login. You log in into GitHub, go to settings here. In the settings, there is a option called developer settings available. In the developer settings, there is a option called OAuth apps available. These all are the OAuth apps previously I created. We can delete them. Now I want to create one Spring Boot REST API with OAuth. OAuth integration with the GitHub. If you access my REST API, you will be redirected to the GitHub. If you authenticated in the GitHub, then you can access my REST API. Are you able to follow this? Are you able to follow this? Any questions on this? Do you have any questions on this? No. Let's try this. Before going to try, what is the first step that you need to do, guys? Spring Boot with OAuth 2 development process. It's very simple. Coding is very simple. Understanding the concept is important. Development process for OAuth. First create OAuth app in the GitHub. Okay. So log in into your GitHub account. Go to your profile. Go to settings. In the settings you have developer settings option. In the developer settings there is an option called OAuth apps available. Click on new OAuth app. Click on new OAuth app. Application name you can give anything. Spring
Can
Boot
you give me
Microservices Security. Homepage URL, my homepage is 8080. Authorization callback URL. Once your authentication successful, you should be redirected to which page? I want to redirect it to the same URL. So this is the home page of my application and this is the callback URL. Whenever your authentication is successful in the GitHub, it will send you a token to the REST API. REST API should redirect it to which URL? I want to redirect the REST API to the same URL. Click on register application. Application is registered. So we got the client ID. Take the client ID. Okay. And generate the client secret. New secret I have generated. Copy the client secret. That's it. So this is a one-time process in the project. If you want to integrate GitHub with OAuth, you need to create one OAuth application in the GitHub. Then you need to give client ID, client secret. Then GitHub will understand from which GitHub account the request is coming. Okay, we are integrating the GitHub, right? So which application is using this OAuth with the GitHub? Ashok IT application, Ashok IT GitHub account client ID, Ashok IT GitHub client secret is available. So as a end user, you no need to do this. Developer will do this in the project only one time. This is one time activity in the project. Okay, I created one OAuth application. Login, profile, settings, developer settings, OAuth, create the app. Okay, copy client ID and client secret. You generate the client secret, you copy your client ID and client secret. Then create the boot application, file new, Spring Starter project 07 Spring Boot OAuth application. OAuth 2.0 application. Yeah. Dependencies. We are adding web starter, dev tools. What are the dependencies we need? Security starter and OAuth client. OAuth to client I am adding. 4 dependencies. Dev tools, Spring security, OAuth, Spring web. Finish. Good guys. Application got created. Now you can check the pom.xml file. OAuth client dependency extra. This is the first time we are adding this dependency. Security starter we know, web starter also we know. Let me create one simple REST API method. New class dot rest demo REST controller at the rate REST controller. Okay. And I'm writing one method, public string get message. Simple, I'm returning good morning. Let's map to a get request, get mapping slash. I'm not giving any URL pattern. So when you access this URL, it will be redirected to GitHub. If your authentication successful in the GitHub, you will be redirected to the same URL. I configured that in the OAuth application. So this is my REST API. Currently, OAuth configuration is not done, just a dependency added. Run this application, run as boot application. Application started. It is running on 8080. Go to the project, localhost colon 8080. What it is coming now? Default login page is coming. But I want a default login page or I want GitHub login page. I want to integrate with the GitHub. So currently, did I specify anywhere that I want to use GitHub login? No. So I need to specify GitHub login in my application. You can specify GitHub login, Facebook login, Google, LinkedIn, whoever is providing that OAuth resources for you that you can integrate in your application. You got my point? Now, so in order to configure GitHub login in our project, in order to configure GitHub login in our project, coding wise, you no need to do anything. Only configuration. Only properties file you need to update. Okay. So here you need to take this YML file or properties file, convert this into properties file, properties to YML, delete the properties. I'm taking YML which is having more readability. In this YML, we are specifying Spring Security OAuth 2 client registration is GitHub. I want to use GitHub as a resource server for my application. In this GitHub application, if you want to integrate, what you need to configure? Your GitHub OAuth app client ID, your GitHub OAuth app client secret you need to that's it. We are done with the OAuth implementation. We created one OAuth application. We got the client ID and client secret. That client ID, client secret we are configuring in the YML file. How my REST API will know that I am using GitHub login, OAuth client registration GitHub. If you want to use Google login, then what I will specify? Google client ID, Google secret. If I want to use Facebook, then I will specify Facebook. If I want to use LinkedIn, then I will specify LinkedIn. Are you getting my point?
Can
So
be
this
defined
client
multiple.
ID, client secret belongs to which application? GitHub. Okay, done. Now let us refresh, do the Maven update of our application. Right. We have done the Maven update for our project. Okay. So let us go to browser. Let me access GitHub. If it is already signed in, okay. This is not signed in my GitHub. In my browser, I did not sign in into my GitHub account. Okay, fine. Let us run this application, run as boot application. I configure GitHub client and GitHub secret. GitHub I configured as a client of OAuth. OAuth server is there. My application is a OAuth client for the GitHub authorization. Go to browser, access localhost colon 8080. Which URL I'm trying to access now? Our REST API URL I'm trying to access. What happened? What happened now? I redirected to GitHub. So if I log in the GitHub account, if I log in the GitHub account, then what will happen? I am accessing REST API. What the REST API is doing? Redirecting to the GitHub. What GitHub has done? Send a login page. I should give my GitHub credentials. My account will be validated in the GitHub. If it is a valid, it will confirm to my REST API. Then my REST API will provide the response to me. Are you getting my point? Yes, go to the GitHub. Now let me give some wrong data. Wrong data. Where it is failing? In the GitHub. My authentication is failed in the GitHub. Now let me log in. I have multi-factor authentication. I will get the SMS to my mobile. In my GitHub account, multi-factor authentication, a OTP will be generated. Right. Now it is asking, boss, are you sure? Do you want to give the access of your data to the third-party application? So some REST API is trying to access your data. Do you want to? Okay. Okay. Do you want to share your personal data with them? Are you okay? Yes. Then what happened? I am redirected to our REST API. So where the authentication is happened? Where the authentication is happened? Authentication is happened in the GitHub. Are you able to see this flow practically now? Are you able to see this flow practically? What is step number one? What is step number one? I am client now. I'm a user. I'm a user. I want to access one REST API. I'm a user. I want to access one REST API. When I access REST API, there is no UI. That's why directly it is redirecting. Okay. When I access REST API, if it is a UI application, a button will be available. Sign in with Google, then the Google page will open. Sign in with GitHub, then GitHub page will open. This is a backend REST API. There is no UI. That's why when you hit the URL directly, it is redirecting to the GitHub. So first step, you will send the request to the REST API. Then you will be redirected to the GitHub. GitHub will send a login page for you. Enter your credentials in the GitHub login page. Then submit. Your credentials will be authenticated in the GitHub. If credentials are valid, GitHub will send a confirmation to REST API. So saying that, boss, okay, he is my valid customer, he authenticated successfully. Once my REST API receive that confirmation from the GitHub, it will allow me to access that method. It is redirecting callback URL. It is redirected to that URL. This is OAuth implementation in the Spring Boot. Concept understanding is important. Implementation dead easy. Just we added one dependency, and in the properties file, we configured our client ID and client secret. Are you able to understand my point?